Hare Krishna. We welcome all the devotees to this wonderful seminar by His Grace Ram Sharan Prabhu, also known as Rajesh Kadam. So, Ram Sharan Prabhu is a veteran in spiritual care. He is the HOD for the spiritual care department at Bhaktivedanta Hospital. He was earlier working in a banking sector in a very high profile position. But due to his inclination towards spirituality, he voluntarily joined this hospital. And since then, he has been giving a lot of service and inspiring many youth and people to take up spirituality. So today's session, titled as Spiritual Health and Integrated Approach, will be taken by him. I request all the devotees across the world who are seeing this online, please pay full attention and take maximum benefit out of it. Over to you, Ram Sharan Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. So today we will be discussing the topic spiritual health. So Bhaktivedanta Hospital, the mission statement goes this way: with love and devotion, we will offer everyone a modern, scientific, holistic healthcare service based on true awareness and understanding of the needs of the body, mind and soul. So, what is spiritual health? Just like if physical health has to be seen, we see the vitals like BP, the temperature, then blood, urine, all those tests. From that, we understand what is the physical health. And if the spiritual health has to be known, then we see how much faith the person has, how much satisfaction he experiences, how much joy he experiences, how much respect he has, how much gratefulness he feels. So that these are the parameters to test the spiritual health. So science and spirituality, they must go hand in hand. Spirituality, it speaks about why, about the subject matter, and science speaks about the what and how. So science without spirituality actually is blind, and spirituality without science is lame. So defining holistic health is actually with faith and finding meaning, purpose of life and fulfillment of life by harmonizing with nature and understanding the ultimate reality. So understanding the ultimate reality, that is the summit of spiritual health. And what are the symptoms of spiritual health? The symptoms of spiritual health is when a person, he is working for a higher purpose, he is having inner satisfaction, he has understanding of the self, he has equanimity, connection with the ultimate reality, universal service attitude, very expert in reciprocal relationships. He lives a life of ethics, ethical living. So all these things are the symptoms of spiritual health. And such a person, he has got various roles in this world. First of all, he is as an individual, his swadharma has to be established, like the values and interests and his personality. So all these things, they constitute the swadharma of a person. But then he is also a family member. So therefore, the ashram dharma, whether brahmacharya ashram or grahastha ashram, so his kula dharma, his ashram dharma, these are very important. And then he is also a professional. So there he follows his varna dharma, whether he is a brahmin or a kshatriya. Then he is also an element of the society, so samajik dharma. Then he is a citizen of the nation, therefore desha dharma. And there are various vyavasthas like dharma vyavastha, raja vyavastha, artha vyavastha, shikshana vyavastha. So he has roles at all these various different levels. In the same way, he is also a human being. So even manavata dharma, then he is also part of the entire environment. So jiva daya towards other living entities, this is also a role to be played. And even in the whole creation, the Prakritik Dharma, which is based on his gunas, the Sattva, Raja, Tama. And beyond all these things, he is also a soul. So as a soul, he should be working for liberation. And when he understands that he is a part and parcel of God, at that time also, he has to act, and that is called bhakti. So, all these various realms, dimensions in which the living entity has to function, and sometimes, it is not black and white, there are many shades of grey, and therefore he gets bewildered, confused sometimes. And therefore we have to understand this very, very scientifically. So there are 5 layers, coverings of the body, which covers the soul, which is technically called Panchakosh. So the innermost kosha, which covers the soul, is called the Anandamay Kosh. Then comes the Vijnanmay Kosh. Then comes the Manomay Kosh. And then comes the Pranamay Kosh, and the outermost layer is the Annamay Kosh. So we'll be trying to understand. We'll try to understand in today's session these 5 indicators towards understanding spiritual health. So soul, as we know from Bhagavad Gita, is free from attachment, joy, excitement. It considers itself, actually it is a non-doer, without any desire, non-racist, doubt-free, free from lamentation, illusion, free from any kind of material experience. It is silent, immovable, inconceivable, invisible, indivisible, unaffected, so it is eternal. So these are the qualities of the soul. But what happens when the Anandamay Kosh, which is made up of false ego or ahankar or chitta we say, so when that covering comes, the soul suddenly starts feeling attachment and joy and excitement. So this covering of Anandamay Kosh, it gives it the experience, it gives the soul a sense of enjoyment. So the functions of this Anandamay Kosh is to offer love and compassion to all. So this to remain equipoised, with tolerance, sacrifice and perseverance. So these are the functions of the soul. And when the consciousness enters into the Anandamay Kosh, there is an expression of gratefulness. When that same consciousness enters into the Vijnanmay Kosh, there is the sense of, conscientiousness, or we can say conscientiousness means understanding what is right and what is wrong. So a person becomes wise when the consciousness enters into the element of intelligence. When that same consciousness enters into the element of mind, the person gets feelings. And that consciousness, when it enters into the Pranamay Kosh, the person can actually experience or exhibit skills and talents. And when that same consciousness enters into the Annamay Kosh, a person can perceive things of this world. So like that, so when we are starting with Anandamay Kosh, the domain of Anandamay Kosh is peace, fearlessness, compassion, stability, forgiveness, gratefulness. All these are the domain of Anandamay Kosh. And what is favorable for Anandamay Kosh? So seeking within, seeking love for the absolute truth. That is very favorable for Anandamay Kosh. Association of spiritual master, association of devotees, then offering selfless service to people in general or to the Lord in particular by keeping the Lord in the center. So that actually, helps for the purification of the Anandamay Kosh. And when the Anandamay Kosh is purified, what happens? One is happy, whether it is pleasure or distress. He experiences equanimity. He loves his friends and enemies alike. He finds beauty even in ugly. He has freedom from, poverty and prosperity. So simplicity in his life enters. So such a situation gives that person a very nice experience. Then the next layer above the Anandmay Kosh is the Vijnanmay Kosh. This Vijnanmay Kosh, it makes the soul feel like a doer, philosopher. It makes it feel determined as a racist. It gives the soul a sense of achievement. So this Vijnanmay Kosh, it is made up of intelligence. And its domain is power of discrimination, decision making, broad-mindedness. So all these things are the domain of Vijnanmay Kosh. And there are 10 capacities of intelligence. As the intelligence starts becoming purified, growing, it exhibits various levels, dimensions of its capacities. So first is the Grahan Shakti. So Grahan Shakti means listening listening from the source and retaining it. So retaining it is the next capacity, that is called Dharana Shakti. So Dharana Shakti is storing whatever is heard. And then comes Smriti. Smriti is reproducing whatever is heard and assimilated to reproduce it again. So the modern education, it evaluates only these first three. But beyond this, there is also called Nirikshan Shakti. Then there is Parikshan Shakti. Then there is Tarka Shakti. Then there is Anuman Shakti. Then there is Visleshan. Then Sansleshan. And then Kalpana Shakti. So these are all various capacities of intelligence which has to be understood. Then comes, how to actually purify this Vijnanmay Kosh. So, by Atma Chintan, by, Atmanubhuti, Granthi Bhed, by understanding what is my faith, introspecting about our own desires, our behaviors, our activities, and our propensities, how to improve our propensities, how to improve our good qualities. So all these things comes under Vijnanmay Sadhana. And then like every day before sleep, if we can introspect what was the appropriate behavior, what was the inappropriate behavior which I showed today, what was the wasteful behavior, how did I spend my time and energy today. So while sleeping, if we can pray, plan for the next day's performance. So all these things are very, very important. Atma Chintan. And also sanskaras, yajnas, becoming competent to actually, hankering for learning shastras, taking shelter of good devotees, taking their, leadership in our life, to lead a very pure life. So all these things come under Vijnanmay Sadhana. And when all these things happen, our Vijnanmay Kosh starts developing. So there are also the stages of development. So the first stage of development of Vijnanmay Kosh is called Dhi. Now this Dhi stage also has got various levels. So a person becomes aware of a particular principle or a philosophy through occupational knowledge. He acquires through the various senses, and then he understands it, and then he debates over it. Uha poho, it is said. Then he comes to understand what is Artha Jnana and what is Vyartha Jnana. Like he derives what is useful and what is not useful. And then finally he gets his principles, the ideology, it is established in his life, and he starts following it. And then the next stage comes the Dhriti, he starts following the principle very, very strongly in his life. For example, the Pandavas. The Pandavas, they had this dhriti of dharma. If we say Bhishma Pitama, we always understand, yes, his dhriti was pratigya. He lived for his vows all his life. Abhimanyu is known for virta. Then Sati, Sita, Savitri. So all these, they are known for their pativratya, isn't it? So like that, Srila Prabhupada, our Srila Prabhupada is known for preaching Krishna consciousness all over the world. So the next stage is called Smriti. So Smriti, it is not the one of the 10 capacities of the intelligence, but in this stage, the tattva, the philosophy is embodied by the person. Even in the middle of night, if he is woken up, he can explain that ideology very nicely. And then comes the next stage, that is Medha. So he has become an expert. Even in the time of peril or emergencies, he can suddenly use this principle very nicely. For example, again Pandavas, their Medha was to take the shelter of Krishna, Krishnashray, always. Arjun, while fighting with Jayadratha, ultimately Krishna helped him. Draupadi also, she always took shelter of Krishna, whether it was Asat Sabha or whether it was Durvasa Munis coming with thousands and thousands of disciples for prasad. She always took shelter of Krishna. Uttara, for example. Uttara was also when there was an attack of Brahmastra by Ashwatthama. Krishna, Krishna Mahabaho, she took shelter of Krishna. And of course Queen Kunti, we have got the celebrated book of teachings of Queen Kunti. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, all her series of prayers is the subject matter of learning for all the great sannyasis. So we can see that in this Pandav Parivar, Krishna Ashray has been the Medha. They have fixed, their intelligence is very nicely fixed in taking shelter of the Lord. Then the next stage is the Pratibha. So Pratibha, in that a person shows extraordinary prowess, asamanya karishma in problem solving. And that is by his realized principle. So in this stage, the solution strikes to him suddenly, yakayak. For example, Shivaji Maharaj, his decision making, escape from Delhi, how he escaped from Aurangzeb's that fort, and how he escaped from Siddhi Jawhar's cordon, and how he had the nice decision making to kill Afzal Khan. So this Pratibha, suddenly, this is the next stage, and beyond that is the level of Prajna. In Prajna, this extraordinary feat, it becomes a regular feature. Anytime, anywhere, if there is any peril, call that person. He knows what to do. So like that. For example, we have got Arjun. So Arjun, whether it was Draupadi Swayamvar, or whether it was Virat Yuddha, or whether it was the great war of Mahabharata, he was always successful. So, but this Prajna, it is only possible only in one field, in one kshetra. But the next stage is Ritambara Pragya. So that is like the stage in which the person is capable of solving problems in any field, any time. And what can be the best example other than Hanumanji? So Hanumanji, Manojavam Marutitullavegam, Jitendriya Buddhimatam Varishtham, Vatatmaja Vanarayutha Mukhyam, Sri Ramadutam Sharanam Prabhatte. So Hanumanji, he is a sevak, he is a doot, he is a yodha, he is an architect, he built a bridge, he is a vidushi, he is a kavi, he is also a leader, he is a spy. and he is a Kirtaniya. So we can see that he has got so many attributes and he is the best perfection in every field. So therefore, this example of Hanumanji, I feel, is the apt for this particular stage of intelligence, development of intelligence, and that is Ritambara Pragya. So this is all about the Vijnanmay Kosh we were discussing. So this kosha is the second kosha which covers the soul. Then the third kosha is the Manomay Kosha. So this Manomay Kosha makes the soul feel like one who laments, is illusioned and having material experience. This kosha, it gives a sense of thinking, feeling and willing. So this kosha can be purified by many many endeavors. The best one is sound meditation. So sound meditation, Naam Japa, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So also by learning many arts like non-violent communication, how to speak to others non-violently, or learning classical music, Indian classical music, then Tratak, then deity worship. So by all these activities, a person's mind can be purified and it can be controlled. But in amongst all these things, the mantra meditation is considered to be the best, an art of acceptance. So when a person learns to accept things in life, when he learns to express humility, tolerance, respecting others, forgiving others. So all these things are very big words to speak about, but very difficult to follow. But this is what is favorable for Manomay Kosh, which is the third and the most important kosha, which is in middle. There are two koshas in the front and two koshas in the back. So when the Manomay Kosh is purified, a person becomes focused, pleased, he becomes joyful, he becomes knowledgeable. There is end of dualities for him. Sankalpa, Vikalpa, Raga, Dvesha, Harsha, Shoka, Sukha, Dukkha, Ruchi, Aruchi. And that person becomes, Nishchayatmak. Means he attains decisiveness. He is free from all kinds of anarthas. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Mada, Matsar. And good qualities start developing in him. So this is how a kosh, Manomay Kosh, when is purified, these symptoms are seen. Then beyond this, there is the fourth layer, which is called a Pranamay Kosh, which is made up of 72,000 nadis, which are called astral tubes, which are all over our body, in which 5 life airs are there. The Pran, Apan, Vyan, Saman and Udan. So this particular kosha makes the soul feel like I am an orator, I am movable. It gives the soul a sense of talent and skill. It gives an experience of hunger and thirst. So all these things, these experiences are given by the Pranamay Kosh to the soul. The body has got various energies. It has got heat energy, then light energy, then sound energy, then it has got magnetism, electricity. So all these various energies, they are, the domain, we can say, of the Pranamay Kosh. So a lot of research can be done to understand the relationship between the gross body and the subtle body. The connection between the gross body and the subtle body. It is this Pranamay Kosha which actually connects the gross body and the subtle body. Just like when a person dies, we say, iske pran chhut gaye, pran toot gaye. So it is this disconnection of the 72,000 nadis, and then when the person dies, the gross body falls down, and the subtle body, the soul along with the subtle body, comes out of the body. So this pranamaya kosha can be, purified by pranayam. In our hospital, we have got various machines: the EEG machine, the ECG machine, the ERG machine, the EMG machine, the GSR machine. These machines, what do? They see the impulses are recorded. So the bioelectricity in the human body is assessed. Just like the EEG, it sees the reticular activating system. The ECG, through this system, we check the pulse of the cardiac system. By ERG, we check the ophthalmic, the optical system. By EMG, electromyograph, the electricity in the muscles is assessed. And through GSR, the galvanic skin response, the skin is tested. So you see, what the modern scientists, they call the psychic force or latent heat, the Vedic scriptures, they call it as the pranamaya kosh. So there is a kosha connection to these various systems of the body. The annamaya kosha is connected to the hormonal glands. The pranamaya kosha is connected to the bioelectricity. The manomaya kosha is connected to the biomagnetism. The vijnanmaya kosha, it is connected to the neurohumoral transmissions. And the anandamaya kosha, it is connected to the reticular activating system. So when a person does pranayam, this pranamaya kosh is very nicely purified. And when this is purified, this pranamaya kosh is purified, the person, he is actually fixing his polluted habits, any psychological disorder if there is any. He can fix his greed, his attachment. To such level, this pranayam can be useful. And then the outermost layer, which is the annamaya kosh, which is the gross body. This gross body gives the soul a sense of an experience of being visible, it gives the experience of birth, death, disease, old age, heat and cold. So this is experienced by the gross body. So what is the domain of the physical body? The height, weight, chest, the beauty, bodily beauty, the nourishment, how is the bone, how is the hair strength, all those things. And the main functions of the body is storing the food, bodily attraction, reproduction. So this function can be done very nicely if the physical body, the annamaya kosh, is purified. So when the kosha is purified, his senses they become very strong. We have got many examples like Bhima, Vrukodara. He had a very strong body. Our Acharya, Madhvacharya, he also showed superhuman feats. Agastya Muni, he had great digesting power. Even in our daily life, we can see even grandmothers of 80 years of old, they can thread the needle very nicely. Or some people, just by smelling, they can understand many things, what is happening in the next room. So like that, when the pranamaya kosh is strong, is shuddha, purified, then the activities, such activities of perception, sense perception, it becomes good. There is growth, vriddhi. There is strength, bala. There is flexibility, locha. There is efficiency, kushalta. Then there is niramayata, health. There is titiksha, tolerance. So all these things come in by the purification of annamaya kosha. So how is annamaya kosha purified? The annamaya kosha is purified by sattvic diet, appropriate sleep, cleanliness, exercise, games. So by all these things, the Annamaya Kosh is purified. So just to recapitulate, I would say the process of purifying the 5 koshas is Yam, Niyam, Ahar, Nidra, Vyayam, Suchi. By this our Annamaya Kosh is purified. Then by Pranayam, the Pranamaya Kosh is purified. Then by sound meditation, Manomaya Kosh is purified. By association of wise and spiritual scriptures, the Vijnanmaya Kosh is purified. And Anandmaya Kosh is purified by selfless service and sacrifice. So, if a person's spirituality has to be assessed, then we see what is the spiritual background of that person, how much faith he has in God, what all spiritual activities he is involved in, how he is connected to spiritual associations, how does he relate to his friends and relatives and situations in life. Then what are his thoughts, what are his feelings, what are his needs, basic needs, and what are his desires in life? What is his temperament? All these things are assessed. His emotional parameters are also assessed. His fear, his satisfaction, his joy, all these things. And then to re-establish his connection with the absolute truth, what all steps he is taking, developing relationship with everyone, keeping the Lord in the center, having the 6 loving exchanges with people, telling them I love you, how much you also have loved me, please forgive me, I have forgiven you, don't worry about anything, everything will be taken care of, and you have been a very important person in my life. So all these kinds of reciprocations are very, very important. And then empowering oneself by spiritual science through discussion, engaging in the service of the Lord, taking shelter of good devotees, associating with them. So all these things are the various ways by which connection can be established with the Lord. Now this spirituality also can be seen through the 5 indicators even in the family. Just now we discussed about the body. The body has got 5 layers. In the same way, the family also has got 5 layers. What is the Annamaya Kosh of the family? The Annamaya Kosh of the family is how many people are there in the family, the number of people that forms the Annamaya Kosh, out of which how many are old and wise and experienced people in the family. That also increases the Annamaya Kosha. Then how much is the land? Do the people have house to live? What is the bank balance? What is do they have vehicle? How much is the investment? Do they have trees in their property? And how many out of them are fruit bearing trees or nearness to the river? So all these things are seen to understand the Annamaya Kosh of the family. So characteristic of an ideal home, it should be a place where a person feels nischint. He feels protected, loved, cared. He feels hope. There is provision. There is shelter. So such a environment is there, then the person, we can say that the person is living in a very ideal environment called home. He feels peaceful. Everything is clean and tidy, well illuminated, airy, pure water is there. Everything is beautifully and meaningfully decorated. It is also fragrant. There are regular spiritual practices going on, daily, weekly, monthly. There are sacred and auspicious trees around that home. So all these things, they form the characteristics of ideal home. That is the Annamaya Kosh. The Pranamaya Kosh of the family is how much education, how many people are educated in the family. The family members, how are their relationships with each other? How is the energy, the vibrancy? How do they follow their festivals, observe their festivals? Do they participate in the sports? Do they travel? Is there entertainment in their life? So all these things show the pranamay kosh. What do they do for entertainment? That shows the level of pranamay kosh. Are there skilled people in the home? How many people know cooking? How many people know driving? How many people know farming? How many people know plumbing, electricity, washing, mopping, cleaning? So all these things, are they self-sustained? Is this family dependent on someone, on many people, or they are independent? So all are they talented individuals? How much is the knowledge in Sanskrit, in classical dance, in classical music? Whether they need this TV and that TV channel for their entertainment, or they have got entertainment in their own family, they share it. So the ability to live very nicely. Then comes Manomay Kosha of the family. What is the Manomay Kosha of the family? Whether all family members experience togetherness at least 1 hour every day. Whether there are joint discussions by all the family members, regarding the books that they have read, the movies they have watched, the events and programs that have happened in the school and the colleges or the offices. Whether they come and discuss how long does the effect last of the fights and quarrels, or the differences in opinion are there. So all these things are seen in the Manomay Kosh. Whether the visitors, when they come home, they are appropriately introduced and their special characteristics are told. So what happens when suddenly someone comes, whether he is seen as a Atiti Devo Bhava, whether the family goes to, whether they feel comfortable talking to their friends. Do the father, or the parents, know all the friends of, and they are familiar with all the friends of their children? Whether the children, they are familiar with the friends of their parents? So all these things are also seen in the Manomay Kosh of the family. Then how to understand the Vijnanmay Kosh of the family? Whether there are joint discussions by all the members regarding the upcoming budget. Before purchasing any big item, do they discuss together? Is there any policy of regular temple visit, or is there any policy for having a yearly picnic or a yatra? So whether they are interested in each other's spiritual progress, material progress, economical progress, like that, whether there is a joint discussion of national issues, environmental issues, whether they all discuss together. This shows how much the Vijnanmay Kosh of the family is developed. And last is the Anandamay Kosh. The Anandamay Kosh is seen by what this family stands for, how much is it contributing to the society? Does it propagate dharma does it vote during the elections? Does it preach dharma to the people in general? So all these things shows the strength of Anandamay Kosh of the family. So in this way, in our hospital, when we see our patients, we try to see through all these parameters and see what is the completeness of that individual in the environment that the person is coming from. And in this way, the spiritual assessment is done and the spiritual health is understood, and then accordingly intervention is offered. So this is all about the spiritual health that I wanted to share with all of you today. Thank you very much for your kind hearing. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Ram Sharan Prabhu, for this wonderful session on spiritual health and integrated approach. So your session was very enlivening, enriching, and also full of information. I hope all the participants in this session would take large benefit of this. So this program actually is conducted under the initiative of ISKCON Devotee Healthcare Services. This is a flagship program started by Bhaktivedanta Hospital and Research Institute under its 25 years of completion. to facilitate all the devotees across the world for a better health. So this is a part of this program, and we'll be conducting more such programs in the future. So please connect with us all the time on YouTube or any other platforms to avail the benefit of such schemes. Thank you very much once again everyone. Hare Krishna.